And we have arrived, everyone, at our last presentation of the day, our last interview. Justin, come back to me, and let's bring on Kristen Helsel, the CRO, Chief Revenue Officer of Ideanomics. There she is. Kristen, Justin, welcome to EVCon. Well, Justin, you've been here, but Kristen, welcome.
I'm always happy to be welcomed anyway, Spencer.
Okay.
Hi, Kristen. How are you?
I'm great, Justin. Thank you, Spencer.
Thank you for coming on.
Good to see you again. I wanted to follow up. Thank you so much for joining us. You had mentioned in the talk before we just started today something about Gretchen Whitmore, promoting wireless charging stations. That seems to speak rather directly to something that Ideanomics is in for. Are we really looking? Are we really looking at a turning point of sorts, particularly for the Detroit market, which I know is where much of Benzinga is originally stationed?
Yes, I brought that up because Benzinga is at the home of a very forward-thinking governor, Gretchen Whitmer, who is reported to be putting out a RFP for inductive charging at the end of this month. I think September 28th. So we're very excited about that. I think that shows where the world is going. I mean, plugging in is so last year, and we're going to move forward and look at the wireless world. And I think that has something to do with autonomous too. So as you think about an autonomous revolution, there's not going to be anybody to plug in those autonomous vehicles, and most of them are electric. So in getting ready for that, we're going to need wireless charging, and we have a company, Wave, based in Salt Lake City, Utah, where we have a Made in America product that it's part of the Ideanomics ecosystem, and it is absolutely the right solution. So we're very excited to see that kind of activity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. What do you think? Here, I'll lean back because I think I'm being loud. What do you think has changed? I mean, you can see our relationship to technology changing a lot since 2020. Obviously, there's been a pandemic. What do you think has really kind of paved the way for adoption at this point?
Well, I think what we have to remember is, I was in electric vehicles back when they launched the Leaf in 2010. Mm-hmm. So, Nissan and BMW, Ford, all of those companies have been putting out EVs, Tesla, vehicles that people have been buying in small numbers. But I think there's a confluence of things. People want to change the world. People want to be mission aligned. People want to be part of the solution to our climate problem. And you couple that with the terrific looking and performing vehicles that are out there. And then you add into that, all of the fleet needs, which is really where Ideanomics comes in. Fleets also need to make this transition, whether you're making a street sweeper, which our U.S. hybrid company supplies propulsion systems to, an electric street sweeper, all the way to a mid-mile or last mile delivery vehicle. All of those vehicles need to change too. It's not enough just to change the passenger cars. And so what we're trying to do is figure that transition out to electrification. So all of those trucks and buses and things that are IC engine that you see, internal combustion engine that you see on the road, all of those have to be switched for us to be successful. And we're really very, very laser focused on that transition at Ideanomics.
So you spend a lot of time working with municipalities as well as enterprises?
We sure do. I mean, we work with municipalities, we work with commercial customers, we work with governments, we work with anybody who wants to look at fleet electrification. And, some just want to put in charging, and we're happy to talk with them about that. We're also happy to help them finance it. We have in Kate Lamb at Ideanomics, a managing director who has, all of the history and knowledge about banking, and is able to, make this transition, help us make this transition by financing it. Most people, whether you deliver pizzas or you're Amazon, you pay for your vehicles, one payment a month. And so it's really important that we're able to do that, with this electrified transition as well. So, we have people internal within Ideanomics who are trying to solve that, and vehicles and charging, all that infrastructure. We're trying to make that, on a payment basis so that people can, continue to pay and grow their own businesses without having to worry so much about how to make this transition. And that goes for your municipalities, whether it's your city or your airport, wherever you are, that is necessary. We're even talking, we have an e-tractor that we think is terrific for vineyards and for hobbyists and for farming. Okay. But airports are asking us to say, can it be a tug? Can it move airplanes around? So we have all of these, varied applications. And so we're trying to solve these problems today and also set up to solve for these problems in the future, because what we're doing today is not going to be enough. So we're looking at fuel cells, and we're looking at the things that are going to come, in the next 5 to 10 years to make this transition successful.
Mm-hmm. Your focus really is on end-to-end solutions, Ideanomics. It's one of your differentiators. So you have the distinction of coming in and providing or describing, pitching fleet solutions to businesses that maybe don't have a great deal of experience with this. What do you regard as, it seems to me, I've written about technology for a long time, smart cars a decade ago and so forth. And it seems like the adoption barrier is always, getting people to change their thinking is really one of the biggest challenges. What do you think is a major misconception municipalities or enterprises have about EV fleets that you have to dispel kind of right away in order to get the conversation going?
I think that's a great question. I think there's two things that really worry them. How much is this going to cost, which we've talked a little bit about, but more, are these electric vehicles up to my duty cycle? Is it going to be robust enough to carry the equipment or do the job that, my internal combustion engine or diesel engine is doing today? So one of the big things we have to solve for is, what is that duty cycle, and how do we, make sure that the right charging infrastructure is in the right place to make sure that these customers are successful? Because no one wants to, everybody I think is worried about running out of energy in those last few miles and not being able to get a charge. So, one of the things that we have to do is make sure that there's, a lot of charging infrastructure. It has to be ubiquitous. It has to be everywhere. And, that's what you see with the gas station. But the good news is electricity is almost everywhere you need it. And so it makes it really easy for us to make this transition. And what we have to do is walk people through it. We have to talk about the total cost of ownership, and how often electric can be the same price or even cheaper. And then we have to talk through, what are their choices that they can make about infrastructure, about vehicles, about how to do it, about how quickly to do it, about how to finance it. So we take all of those pieces and walk them through and then get them to start, whether it's 1 vehicle, 10 vehicles, or 100 vehicles.
Is it helping in terms of the burden of the upfront infrastructure costs, whether you are a municipality or whether you are an enterprise, to the idea of wireless charging? Is that helping to alleviate that? I know that's a strong focus at this point for you.
Well, certainly that's a focus, but we also, if customers want it, we'll put in plugged-in chargers. We want people to make the transition at the speed that they can make it. We just believe that wireless charging is a way to help future-proof in the future. I mean, when I talk to big companies, what they are talking about is the autonomous future. And so wireless charging helps to do that. It also helps bring a comfort level. If you look at, we have a very large deployment of wireless chargers in the Antelope Valley, north of LA. And what those chargers are doing is every time someone gets on or off a bus, that bus is getting a little bump charge from the Wave system. And what that means is that those vehicles are usually more than 80% state of charge wherever they're running. So, they're delivering thousands of people every day to and from work and to and from where they need to go. And, they're staying at the optimal state of charge that makes the battery companies happy. And so because we're able to put all of that together, we took an order from them just today for a follow-on order because they want to expand that network. And I think, what they're trying to do is say, this is not only today's solution, but we're ready for the future.
So you referred a couple of times to autonomous fleets now. I mean, like, honestly, if there's any idea that, maybe makes traditional enterprise more nervous than telling them that they're going to give up fossil fuels, it's to tell, these AI-driven vehicles, a totally autonomous fleet. Are they going to need some sort of, I mean, obviously there are all sorts of intermediary solutions where you've got vehicles that are semi-autonomous but still require an operator and so forth. How far away are we from a truly autonomous fleet doing logistics, at least on like maybe a local or regional level?
I mean, I certainly am not an autonomous expert, but I can say, we're talking to autonomous companies every day. They're thinking about, this will be a transition too, right? We won't wake up tomorrow and everything will be autonomous. But as we make that transition, what you have to think about is, you have to think through the process of, these vehicles have to go home or they have to go somewhere to rest and charge. And so there isn't going to be somebody standing there saying, oh, the vehicle's here, let me plug it in. So we have, those companies are thinking about how to be ready for that too. So these things go hand in hand. And I think the electric revolution is around the corner. I mean, I'm participating in it happening right now. And I think, the autonomous revolution is a little bit behind, but just in case, we're ready for it.
Right. It is, by the way, no car day, or no driving with your car day, whatever the official global word for that is. No doubt the show organizers intentionally had it coincide with our show. But so happy using your vehicle today. I did use mine, so I kind of blew it. I hope that you did better than me. I had to go pick up kids from school.
Well, you'll be happy to know my EV is charging in my garage.
That's good. That's good.
But, I do want to say too, while I love Wave and, I think it's a great company, what we also have are lots of other companies that are, thinking about this future. Everything from US Hybrid, which I think I mentioned, who's thinking about, these propulsion systems and fuel cells and where that's going to go. We have Selectrac and, electrified agriculture. We have Via and Energica who are making vehicles. Via is making last mile delivery vehicles and mid-mile. We have Energica who today, if you want to go out to Energica dealer, you can buy one of their terrific Italian, beautifully designed motorcycles. And, what we're doing at Ideanomics is putting our capital side to work to expand the number of dealers they have. They're in, 10 or 15. We're going to double it by the end of 2021 and double it again, we hope, by the end of 2022. So if you like that exciting, superhero driving a motorcycle experience, that is the motorcycle for you. So, we have a lot of things that are both exciting and sexy and also, are going to change the world.
So you've been working with this technology for a while now. In terms of use cases, I think the thing is, certainly I see it when I go to any sort of physical trade shows, when that used to happen before the pandemic. People want to touch the vehicles. People want to get in on it. They want to be able to buy one if they're running a business. They want to be able to use it for their business, or they want to be able to use it for their home. What's a use case that you see really coming to fruition, maybe in the next 5 years, that you feel excited about in terms of something that's not only going to happen near term, but it is really kind of like exploring the overall potential of the space in EV?
Well, what I think is coming is, we're certainly working with these, mid-size fleets and mid-size trucks and, but what I see happening at the ports, you don't really think about all the vehicles at the ports, the vehicles that move, the big, containers off of the ships and, move them around and get them on trucks. And that whole electrification, that port electrification is something that we're seeing just starting now, and we think that that's going to be a revolution because if we can keep the air clean at the ports and then keep it clean all the way through, that's going to be important to a lot of people. And you see, I spent a lot of time in California. You see at Port of Long Beach and Port of LA, trucks idling, waiting. So we also have to electrify those great big huge trucks, and that's where fuel cells might come in, and that's sort of the future that we talk about. So I think passenger cars, we've sort of solved that. I think companies like Ideanomics are solving the fleet situation, and the future is going to be these big trucks and these harder things like ports and garbage trucks and street sweepers and things like that. Things where US Hybrid is having to try to come up with solutions to make sure that those work. So those are the things that I'm excited about, because those are the last boxes that we're going to have to check, and we're already thinking about those.
It seems without a doubt that the desire for a greener solution has to be part of the underpinnings of what's driving EV as a movement. But I imagine you must encounter clients and potential clients that are on all sorts of receptiveness to that issue. Some of whom it might be primary, and to others don't want to hear about it at all. So, there is an argument to be made, of course, about total cost of ownership. To those who are maybe on the fence about it right now, to I don't know, whoever's not doing this out here, Unilever or something, who could be making, I have no idea. So I'm sorry, Unilever, maybe you're making brilliant use of EV, I don't know. But just guessing, what would you say to them, to make the point that it's not only maybe the right thing to do for the planet, but also sort of the right thing to do economically?
I would say that this is a journey that we're going to all have to take. And, I think this journey starts with that first step. So, that's where we start everyone, with that total cost of ownership analysis. How can we make this successful with your duty cycle? How can we think this through? And whether you want to start with one vehicle as a proof of concept, if you want, however small you want to start, we're ready to start with you there, and we're ready to take you on this journey. And, whatever you need, we're going to source, we're going to find the solutions, whether we make them or not, because, one of the things we're doing that we haven't talked much about is we're launching an infrastructure company called Turn On Installation Services that we're so excited about. And we haven't talked about it much. So I'm glad to talk about it here at EVCon. And one of the opportunities there is to say, we're going to be agnostic to products and things like that. And we're going to say, what do you need and how can we make you successful? And whether it's battery storage to reduce the demand costs, or whether you want to integrate renewables because that's the right time for you, we want to bring solutions to the table and help solve these problems, and not have, whether you're, I don't know, if you're Unilever or you're making pizzas, whatever you're doing, that takes all of your, we want you to spend 99% of your time on that and just a few minutes with us so that we can help you make this transition.
Right. But it's certainly become more mainstream. Obviously, every decade that we've been talking about it, it's becoming something that's much more present, or it seems like it's much more in the near future. Are there any immediate sourcing problems coming out of the pandemic? I know obviously there's been problems with electronics and anything's related to lithium batteries.
Oh, yeah. We're facing the same challenges that the car makers are facing with chip shortages and long waits at the port. But, that doesn't, I think that's a temporary thing. And so, we're trying to work around that. We're trying to, plan for the future. And one of the reasons that I think, I'm really proud of Ideanomics is because, we have the financial wherewithal, as a public company with investors who believe in us to, make it to that future. This thing isn't going to happen tomorrow or next week or next month. This is a transition that's going to take many years, and it's going to continue to grow here in North America, but worldwide. And so, we're in it for the long haul, and, the companies that are in it for the long haul are going to have, really great products, really good solutions, and a strong balance sheet. And we have all three, and visionary leadership, which I think we're really proud of.
Right. Well, that is fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Would you direct us to a URL, direct us to a demo, anything like that?
Well, I'd certainly direct you to our website, which you can find at ideanomics.com. And I would certainly say, look at our solutions, look at our partner companies like Wave, certainly Select Track, Tree Electric makes two-wheel scooters in Malaysia, Energica, Via. Look at our partner companies and our operating companies and see the exciting things they're doing. They all have their own dedicated websites, and I think you'll be really impressed with what you see. And we look forward to talking with anybody anytime about this transition to electrified vehicles. And we appreciate the opportunity to talk with you, Justin.
All right. Well, it's great talking to you.